wanted to talk about at the very top of the podcast. So we're recording this on Wednesday, and just earlier today, it was announced that both Mike Vrabel and Pete Carroll have been fired. Mike Vrabel, obviously, longtime Tennessee Titans head coach. Pete Carroll, longtime Seattle Seahawks head coach. Derek, I mean, typically this is NFL news we would never comment on, but, we both felt like mammoth news with these two. I mean, huge implications when it comes to the scope of head coaching and coaching in the NFL. So, Derek, what was your thoughts when you saw it was Mike Vrabel who ended up getting fired first? What was your thoughts on Mike Vrabel being fired, and then what was your reaction when that notification popped up on your phone?
Well, so it's tough with Vrabel. And let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way, right? Ohio State. I would love nothing more than Ryan Day to get canned. Bring in a good offensive coordinator who can handle the offense, and then you bring in Vrabel as a head coach. He is a tough son of a bitch, and he's who you need in a program like Ohio State, right? Urban Meyer ran it like a military camp. Now, and this has been said multiple different times, multiple different ways from multiple different people. This school under Ryan Day is drastically different. This program is drastically different. And that's ultimately why you're seeing the changes that are being made, because it's put up or shut up time. If it were up to me, you would have been long gone, right? You lose to Michigan once. Ooh, that one time is huge. Second time, that's it. There's no three strikes for me personally. Um, and obviously now we're on the third time. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's a lot of massive things that have already changed. People coming back, people transferring over to Ohio State, coaches that needed to be fired being fired, not named Ryan Day, but that's not going to happen. Which I'll do a further discussion on stuff going on at Ohio State later. But here's the reality: Mike Vrabel is not coming back to be anything other than a head coach at Ohio State. So, unfortunately, everybody here in Columbus, I hate to tell you, Vrabel's not coming back unless he's going to be a head coach. And I think the most likely scenario here is he's going to go to New England. He's going to be the head coach of the New England Patriots. That just kind of seems like something that is already set in stone. We'll see. It'll be interesting because the Titans, I think Vrabel, what he's done with the Titans is impressive. He took a team that was little to nothing, and they made the playoffs for a couple years under him, correct?
So this season they missed out. I want to
hmm
say last year. Did they sneak in last year? I'm trying to remember. I don't think they did. I can't remember. They've made playoffs multiple times under him, and there was even the one year that I think it was Cincy and Kansas City met in the AFC Championship game for the first time. The Titans were actually the one seed. I don't know if you
hmm
remember that, and the Titans played the Bengals and lost in the second round. Um, and yeah, he's led some really good teams, man. And yeah, it was such a shocker. But I'll let you finish up before I jump into my
hmm
piece. So keep on rolling with Mike Vrabel.
No, I for me, Tristan, I think he's going to New England. Would love him to come here. He's not. Um, but I think he's going to go to New England. I think it's just a simple, easy thing. But if you're the Titans, that uh, I know obviously we have differing opinions on Will Levis, but aside from Will Levis, that team needs a lot of work. Like their defense is fine. Like I think it's solid. But offensively, man, do they need weapons. They need weapons. Derrick Henry said goodbye to Tennessee. He's going to be out the door. Don't know where he's going to end up. Hopefully not Baltimore. But you know that team is just, who are you going to get to come in and replace him? So I almost wonder if this was a mutual parting of ways more than, hey, Vrabel, we think you suck. But I don't know. It's hard telling. But Tristan with Vrabel, obviously shocking. But what did you think?
Yeah. So my instant reaction was just like, i i the guy didn't deserve to be fired. Um,
Hmm.
what he's done with that with Tennessee over the years has been absolutely fantastic. He never had an elite quarterback to work with. Obviously, he's a defensive coach, so you know, but at the same token, in order for defensive coaches to really succeed, they have to have an elite quarterback that runs a really good offense, so that way the defensive side of the ball can be complementary. And we've seen this happen with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, where his defense is always fantastic, you know. And when Big Ben was
Hmm.
there, the offense was always good, no matter who was calling the plays. And so, now you're starting to see the struggle a bit for Tomlin, even though they Mason Rudolph's found a spark, and now they're a 10-7 football team, and we'll get into the wild card predictions later, but they're certainly not a team to sleep on. I think that when it comes to Mike Vrabel, very good head coach, has a well-run team, a really tight ship. They play hard. Um, you know, I just think this year they were just not that talented. I don't think that
Hmm.
they had an abundance of talent on the offensive side of the ball for sure, and even on the defensive side, like they had a good D line, like especially the interior with Jeffrey Simmons. Um, like the front seven played well, but that secondary wasn't even that great, man. Like I just think that
Hmm.
there's so much that the Titans need to fix. I'm with you. I think this was probably like a listen. We're going to be going through a really big teardown rebuild because I mean CJ Stroud and the Texans, they look like they are gearing up
Hmm.
to absolutely go off this offseason with additions, splashing the cash. Obviously, they have a lot of draft capital.
Hmm.
That's a team on the rise. Shane Steichen and the Colts with Anthony Richardson. Obviously Anthony Richardson had a pretty spectacular start to his career before he went down hurt. And Steichen, he's clearly the answer in Indy. I think he's a fantastic coach. And that team is on the rise. And then you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence. And even though they absolutely fell on their face at the end, they still have a lot of talent in that organization. That
And they invested
they
a
did.
lot. They
They did.
invested a lot. And Doug Peterson's been really good for them
Yes.
too.
So,
So.
you know, if the Titans want to have any chance of finding, success in that division, um, it's not going to be in the short term. They just don't have enough in the short term right now. So I mean,
Mhm.
I think they need to go through a complete rebuild. They very well could be like what the Cardinals were this past year, where like looking into the season, like, wow, okay, this roster is not that great. It's locked in for a top five pick. I think that's what we can expect from the Titans next year because I just don't see how. I mean, unless if Will Levis just absolutely evolves into the second coming of like I don't know Josh Allen or Tom Brady or I don't know. He's got to be extra spectacular. Um, so from that perspective, I guess it made sense. You want to go through a rebuild, you probably want a different, maybe offensive minded head coach. I guess I can make it make sense from it from that end. It's just Mike Vrabel didn't deserve to be fired, man. He's done such a great job. Um,
Mhm.
it's rough to see him fired. But with that being said, I think he should be getting another head coaching job in the NFL here. Is it going to be with the Patriots? I don't know. Um, you know, I think that there's a number of teams that he could go to that
Mhm.
like let's say the Raiders or the Chargers miss out on Harbaugh because they're both clearly going to be bidding for him. That's certainly not just a consolation prize with Mike Vrabel. That's a good head coach with a proven track record of getting the most out of his guys. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, time will tell, but yeah, just a shocking, shocking fire. Now, on the other side of it, Ohio State, would I fire Ryan Day to bring in Mike Vrabel? I think so. I think I would. Um, the issue with it is I think it's just really late to do that right now.
Mhm.
You just got a bunch of transfers to commit. Now, luckily, the majority of the transfers have been on the offensive side of the ball, at least from what I've seen from not my close view, but I know there was
Mhm.
that Alabama center. There was
Mhm.
the Ole Miss running back. Yeah,
Judkins.
yeah, Judkins.
Yes, dude,
Yeah,
I'm
he
telling
he
you.
looks good. He looks
Ooh,
good.
I'm doing something. I'm doing a separate video on him at
Yeah,
some point. That dude is. Go ahead.
yeah.
I'll get into a tangent. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, would I do make the switch? I probably would, just because I think Mike Vrabel bringing him in, that's a culture changer. That's a guy with a proven track record, brings a lot of excitement. With Ryan Day, it kind of feels like you're in like a, well, I mean, next year there's going to be a lot of negativity or neutralness until the game.
Mhm.
There's going to be just no momentum or excitement. I think there's some excitement and momentum around the players being brought in. Um, but as far as the team and the success, it's I don't think there's a lot right now in the Buckeye Nation fan base. So, Derek, you'll be able to answer
Mhm.
more to that. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's before we move on to the other head coaching fire, Derek, any final comments on Mr. Mike Vrabel and your total thoughts?
Um, no, but I'll quickly run through what you just said as far as the Ohio State thing. Yeah, it's way too late. You got a bunch of key guys coming back. Denzel Burke announced today he's coming back. Jack Sawyer's coming back. I expect JT Tuimoloau to come back as well. Um, and there's just a number of key guys that are coming back. Whether if Travion Henderson does or not with the addition of Judkins, I don't know. But here's what I'll tell you either way, whether if it's Judkins and Dallin Hayden, whether if it's Judkins and Travion Henderson, oh boy, do we have a running back room, because those two guys, regardless of which variation they are, and it might be all three of them, it really could be, um, going to be able to run the ball. Improvements on the offensive line is huge. And then Will Howard is
Forgot
obviously the
about to
biggest
mention
addition
him.
at
Yeah.
quarterback. Mhm. Yeah, so at this point, you cannot make a head coach change. It's beyond way too late, and I think they've committed to change within the program, change within the locker room. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously more you can add on that, but as far as Vrabel coming in, it's just, if this happened, if the Titans fired Vrabel, like,
Mid-season.
I
If
don't
they would have
know,
fired him
yeah, that would be
mid-season, yeah,
different.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Mhm. But
Yeah, and like that's the thing with Ohio State this year. It's a whole nother conversation. Maybe we can have it another day. But the
mhm,
transfers that they've got in this year, like in the fact that if they would have just clinched, like beat Michigan, there's a very good
mhm,
chance that the whole aura around Ryan Day and Ohio State right now is completely flopped on its head, because the only other team that gave Michigan a run for their money, quite like Ohio State did, was Alabama. So, it just shows that Ohio State's
mhm.
still close. Um, just need to make some, just need to make tweaks and need to improve. Um, and we'll see what happens this time next year. But moving on,